Great to have you with us. Let's take our first story because the name of the presidency has officially been reversed to Jubilee House. Up until last night, the seat of government has been referred to as Flagstaff House. The NDC, during the administration of the late President John Evans Atta Mills, changed the name of then Jubilee House to Flagstaff House. The move generated lots of public debate on the essence of the name change and its impact on history. During the 2016 electioneering period, the MPP stated emphatically it will reverse the name to Jubilee House if it wins power, mainly on the argument that the facility was put up during the Golden Jubilee anniversary of the country's independence. True to their word, the capital city wakes up this morning to a new caption on the edge of the iron fence of the seat of government, which reads Jubilee House. Here's Head of Communications of the Presidency, Eugene Ahen, explaining reasons for the name change.
The government will now be known and referred to as the Jubilee House.
Okay. I'm seeing some ongoing activities on one of the frontages of frontals, all the walls of the Flagstaff House, in which the insignia inscriptions are being changed. It's part of the whole renaming process.
Yes, I wouldn't describe it as renaming. I'll describe it as the naming process because if you recall, the edifice as part of Ghana's Ghana 50th independence celebration of the country, President Kufuor put up that structure and named it as the Jubilee House. Subsequently, when there was a change in government, the building was named or renamed Flagstaff House by the then President, His Excellency, the late John Evans Atta Mills. But officially, if you look, there's no record anywhere evidencing that the name of the seat of government was named as Flagstaff House. There's no record anywhere that the Jubilee House was renamed Flagstaff House. So the President, as a result of Article 58 of the Constitution and given the power vested in him by that particular article under the Constitution, has named Flagstaff House as Jubilee House.
Okay, so now you're just affirming the name, Jubilee House.
Absolutely, Jubilee House, yes. And the President has signed an executive notice to that effect, which has been gazetted. And so the name Jubilee House would now be the official name of the seat of government.
But has it got anything to do with the President's birthday, perhaps some significance of a sort?
No, it has purely coincidental. Purely coincidental. Yes, it has nothing to do with the
It sounds like a very curious coincidence.
Well, you can say so, but there's no design to ensure that probably the naming of the seat of government coincided with the President's birthday. Nothing whatsoever. It just happened. Eugene,
so there's going to be an LI that will be sent to Parliament ultimately?
It's an executive notice that has been gazetted. Eventually, I don't think there'll be the need for an LI to be sent to Parliament in this respect.
Okay, just for me to be able to get a good soundbite, tell me about it. You said there's going to be executive.
I'm saying the President has signed an executive notice dated today to the effect that the seat of government will now be named and referred to as Jubilee House. He signed an executive instrument which has been gazetted, and that is about it.
Now, Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba visited the area and reports.
It is official. The Flagstaff House has officially been renamed Jubilee House. If you've been following conversations on this subject sometime in February 2018, when President Kufuor met some chiefs from the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs, he gave indications that this edifice will be renamed Jubilee House. He made that known also on the campaign trail that when they are voted into power, they will be changing the name of this building to the Jubilee House. But if you've been following conversation on this subject, subject, you would remember that President John Ejekun Kufuor was the one who commissioned this building when it was 80% to 90% complete in November 2008, just when he was exiting office as the president of Ghana. When President John Evans Atta Mills took over in January 2009, they renamed the Jubilee House the Flagstaff House. That generated a lot of controversy, but the NDC said that the previous government did not take the renaming.
Still watching Joy News today. My name is Daniel Dazi. We'll continue with the story of the renaming of Jubilee House, or Flagstaff House to Jubilee House in a moment. But the information we are picking is that Mr. Koku Anyidoho is currently in the process of being released from BNI custody. We just spoke with his legal counsel and we'll be getting that full confirmation in a few minutes. But back to that story on the renaming of Flagstaff House, because the NDC has been tweeting on the latest development, and here is what they have to say. I'm reading here from the official handle of the NDC Ghana at official NDCGH that reads, "We have noted the renaming of the seat of government from Flagstaff House to Jubilee House. The name Jubilee House will be conterminous with the duration of Akufo-Addo's presidency," referring there to President Akufo-Addo. For us, it is and will always be the Flagstaff House. Now, this was tweeted at 8:08 a.m. today. Now, we'll bring you more on the historical facts regarding the naming of this facility in a moment, but let's go on the phone lines now and speak with the Member of Parliament for North Tong, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, on this issue. Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, good afternoon, Daniel. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you. Your views, first of all, on this change of name.
Good afternoon to your distinguished viewers. My view is that this is a cheap diversionary tactic. Totally needless. There are so many issues of national importance begging for President Akufo-Addo's attention. Yesterday, there were thousands of Ghanaians from all walks of life, from lecturers to the former vice president, Mr. Atta, to the youth of our country, the National Union of Ghana Students, SRC, former ambassadors, former ministers, members of parliament, a cross-section of Ghanaians from different political persuasions, insisting that President Akufo-Addo should not surrender our sovereignty, should not mortgage our country. And yet, President Akufo-Addo would not take Ghana out of this infamous Ghana-US military base agreement. What he is doing is rather diverting attention from the pressing issues that are of concern to Ghanaians. Ghanaians are asking President Akufo-Addo to renegotiate these agreements with the Americans. Nobody is anti-America. Everybody cherishes the relations we have with America. And President Akufo-Addo, rather than respond, is engaged in this diversion. This is a clear diversion from the demands that Ghanaians are making.
Right. Mr. Ablakwa, some would say that the fact that he has changed this name does not mean that we would not discuss this issue of the Defense Cooperation Agreement, and the presidency can do more than one thing at the same time.
Yes, the president can do more than one thing at a time. But when the president is refusing to do certain things, when the president is refusing to negotiate properly on our behalf, when the president is refusing to put Ghana first, as President Trump puts America first, when the president refuses to listen to Ghanaians, then we ought to be very, very worried. Then we begin to ask, has our president got his priorities right? Look, Flagstaff House, there's a history to it. There's a history to having Flagstaff House. Jubilee House, what does Jubilee, what is Jubilee House? So when Ghana becomes 100 years and we're celebrating our centenary, what are we going to rename it or move to another location and call it Centenary House?
Mr. Ablakwa.
Who does that? There's this whole frivolous act. It's an act in frivolity, which should not be, should not even have been contemplated. When you have very pressing issues, priority issues to Ghanaians, then you are engaged in renaming the Flagstaff. We expected a better birthday present from the president. By the way, happy birthday to him. But this is not the kind of birthday present that Ghanaians will be enthused about.
Well, I'm sure he appreciates your wish, but to what you said on the essence of the name Flagstaff House, the statement released by government this morning indicated clearly that the name Flagstaff House is the name of a building on the compound of the Jubilee House complex, which remains Flagstaff House. That building is still there, and it's now going to be a tourism destination where people can go and see and experience the residence of the first president of Ghana. And that Flagstaff House is not unique to Ghana. There are several British colonies across the world where the residence or the British governor at the time was called Flagstaff House. So Jubilee House is now our unique monument, and that's why it's important that name is maintained.
What is unique about our Flagstaff House is that that's where our first president stayed and worked from. And our first president is an iconic figure. He's a towering, he was voted the man of the millennium, the African man of the millennium, a towering figure who worked from there. So we have additional history. We have a context to celebrate. Now this Jubilee House, what's all that about? And when you've named that place Jubilee House, that will overshadow Flagstaff House. Who is going to hear about Flagstaff House?
So, Mr. Blakwa, your party has today. Mr. Blakwa, your party has tweeted, and we just read it, that this naming is conterminous with President Akufo-Addo's tenure, and that your party still recognizes the place as Flagstaff House. You agree with this position?
Absolutely, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
Wouldn't that be taking us back to this realm of going back and forth and prioritizing, majoring in the minors, if I can paraphrase your expression? Because how does the name of the seat of presidency change anything, really?
That is why President Akufo-Addo should not have engaged this in the first place. That is why from the word go, there should have been broad consultation when President Kufuor decided to. You remember that when he renamed that area Jubilee House, there was a lot of protest. People said that he really should have consulted and that we were losing an opportunity. Many people were not comfortable with President Kufuor changing the name of that area from Flagstaff House to Jubilee House. And so Jubilee House is really what's popular, what represents our history, and that it highlights the context of where we have come from.
Right.
But with Jubilee House, just because we were 50 years and India supported us, I mean, really, this is so petty, it's so frivolous, it's so needless, and you can expect that successive governments are not going to live with this decision.
Thank you very much, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. He is Member of Parliament for North Tong. Let's come to you now. What do you make of this back and forth with naming state-owned facilities? Here are some views from Accra.
Because when the MPP was in opposition, they made mention that when they come back to power, when we come back to power, we're going to change it from Flagstaff House to Jubilee House. I'm not surprised about that. I'm not surprised at all.
To me, names don't matter, but what they do is what matters.
I don't think the name really counts a lot. It's what we do there that really counts. The Flagstaff House is supposed to house the presidency, the whole presidency house. And so the name is not really something that is so much of importance to. It's what we do there, and if we are doing the right thing there, the vision or the mission of what's supposed to be achieved over there, if that one is achieved, I think that's good to go.
Renaming of the Flagstaff House to Jubilee House, it wouldn't stop people from still calling the Flagstaff House anyway. People will still, people will decide which name they want to call it by. So it wouldn't make any. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't make sense, but it wouldn't make any. It wouldn't change the way people call it.
We have some more on the historical facts regarding the naming of this particular facility and the following fact file.
Construction of a new edifice was announced by then-President John Ajekun Kufuor in 2007. It was to serve as an office complex and official residence of the presidency. The edifice was built on a site that served as offices for the British colonial government in the past. It was formally inaugurated in November 2008 and christened Jubilee House. In 2009, during the tenure of Professor John Evans Tamils, the name was changed to Flagstaff House and the office of the president was moved back to the Osu Castle. The Flagstaff House was temporarily used as offices for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs until the presidency was moved back in 2013 during former President Mahama's tenure. Ghana's seat of government has been renamed Jubilee House by executive instrument of President Akufo-Addo on 29 March 2018. Controversy. Construction started with a budget estimate of $30 million, as at the time of completion, figures in the region of $135 to $170 million had been associated with the edifice. Many have raised concerns of a failure by any president to fully move into the building.
To other issues now, and the 48-hour deadline for the release of NDC General Secretary Koku Anyi-Doho has expired. His legal team is currently in the process of facilitating his release from BNI custody because the information we have is that that bail has been triggered. Now, this NDC official was picked up 2 days ago during a press conference for comments suggesting he was staging a civilian coup. He is suspected of committing treason, felony, and causing fear and panic. Head of his legal team, Victor Kojoga Adaudu, spoke to us a few minutes before he was released, and he was confident that the police will release him on bail shortly.
We are with the police headquarters, and they are still working on him. We have still left our application for bail, and they also say they are within time looking at it. So that's where we are now. It is. We were not privy to that, so if that's the order granted to them, they'll be able to do it. But the phone has always been with them since even before the order was granted to them. So I'm sure they will have done what is needful. He's not been charged. What they did was to take statement from him that they were investigating an offense of causing fear and panic and treason against him. So if that is what they have done, it is not a charge. It is after the investigation, everything, if they have evidence to support, then they will charge him and put him before court. So there's no charge at the material moment.
Are you confident that Mr. Anyi-Doho will be released soon?
If we allow the law to work, the law has prescribed what has to be done and giving mandates and authority to specific people what should be done. I'm very confident that the law speaks and he will be granted bail, I'm sure. The sequel to every investigation, when statement is taken from you, the next thing is a bail. But we were told that they didn't have instruction at that time. That is where we departed. But they are doing their time. The law grants them to do investigation or detain a person within 48 hours. So we will not bend the rules. We will not say anything. We will just hold on and see that they work within the 48 hours.
And this 48 hours elapses in a few hours from now?
That's so. So we are hoping that the law will take its own course. So let's wait till the 48 hours expire.
So the information we are picking, like I said, is that after we spoke with Victor Adaudu, Mr. Anyi-Doho has started the process of being released on bail. We have spoken to members of his legal team. We are picking up that information. We want to get you that full confirmation in a few minutes. But Komla Adom is with Joy News, and he is currently at the BNI headquarters. He joins us on the line. Komla, can you hear me? Where are you now at the headquarters, and is Mr. Anyi-Doho free?
Well, Daniel, I am currently at the BNI offices, and I can confirm, I can tell you that Mr. Koku Anyi-Doho, the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, is still here at the BNI offices. I'm told that the bail conditions are being finalized. Earlier, I spoke to one of the lawyers, the Deputy General Secretary. He told me that his father is in there, and they're currently having a meeting. His father, that's Koku Anyi-Doho's father, Koku Anyi himself, and some officials of the BNI. That's what's dragging his release at the moment, but they told me that the bail conditions are almost finalized.
Komla, what more do we know? For instance, we know his personal effects were taken, his mobile phone and a few electronic gadgets belonging to him. Have those been released to him?
Well, at the moment, I am unable to tell, but from the discussions that some of the legal team members have been having right here at the BNI offices, it points to the fact that those gadgets have been returned, and then the bail conditions now is what the focus is on, and they are telling us that those conditions are almost finalized. It's just a brief meeting between his father, himself, and the BNI officials is what is delaying its final release.
Do we know the amount of his bail?
That is uncertain at the moment because we are told they are still finalizing agreement. But I'll try and speak to one of the legal members to give us a lot more information with regards to this question. And Mr. Aliba is here with Daniel. You want to speak to final comment?
Right.
Thank you very much. To join you. We understand that the bill conditions are almost finalized. What more do you?
I just part of the BNI office, and there's some small meeting going on in there. I'm sure the meeting is being attended by his father, the uncle, and some 2 other lawyers. The essence is to finalize the bail bond and then stand surety for him. So any moment from now, I'm sure he will have his liberty.
Do we know what the conditions for bail exactly are? Do we know, apart from the surety that his father and the uncle that have been?
I think those details are what the meeting is to finalize. So maybe we need to wait a little to find out what the meeting come out with.
Okay, and finally, you have seen him today. He looks in good spirits today.
I was here yesterday. We saw him, and today I've seen him. He looks healthy, happy. Indeed, he has the opportunity sometimes to even crack jokes when you are talking to him. So I'm sure he will tell his own story when he comes out. He indicated that he has been treated well. The police have been professional. And so there's nothing untoward about his detention.
Many thanks to you. So you just heard one of the league members, that's Abraham Aliba. He just confirmed that the bail conditions are currently being finalized. And any moment from now, the Sekopanyito will be released from the trial.
Thank you very much, Komla Adom. You're still watching Joy News today. News on the hour just coming in. In a few minutes, Koku Anyidoho will be a free man because he's currently satisfying bail conditions at the BNI headquarters, and he will be released shortly. We just got word from a member of his legal team, Abraham Amaliba. And also coming up, Multimedia Group has filed an official complaint at the police over the beating of our colleague Latif Idris. More on that after these messages.
Them also pounced on him and pulled him away.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, the Multimedia Group has filed a report at the Cantonment Police Station regarding the police assault on one of its journalists, Latif Idris. Latif was brutalized by some security personnel in front of the CID headquarters Tuesday night when NDC supporters stormed their premises to demand the release of the party's Deputy General Secretary Koku Anyidoho, who was arrested on the day for allegedly making treasonable comments. ACP David Eklu is the Director of Communications at the Ghana Police Service. He joins us on the phone with more. Good afternoon, Mr. Eklu. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, and good afternoon.
Has this complaint come to your attention, and what should we expect from the police?
Yes, the complaint has come to my attention. The MD of Multi TV called me yesterday to draw my attention that one of his workers, Latif, was assaulted during the siege at the police headquarters 3 days ago. And he indicated that he is receiving treatment at the hospital and that he was advised to come and report to the police, which he did today. We have also taken note of that complaint, and we regret the incident that happened. And, we have been working with journalists. Journalists have covered a lot of these major public events without any alteration with the police. All the same, we're taking it seriously. He has filed a complaint. I don't know the details. And if he is able to help us identify the police officer, then we know what next step to take. But let me indicate that it wasn't intentional. We handled this issue from, for the crowd started milling and in front of the police headquarters from 2 up to 6:30 to 7. I think it was around 7 o'clock when other people from our side came in to join, that the police had to escalate the crowd control measures by deploying other weapons, other things like the water cannon and some other riot control equipment. The incident that happened, when we read the report in the media, we do not know exactly what led to this attack. And we do not encourage and sanction some of these attacks on journalists when they are doing their work. That's why we are also happy that he has lodged an official complaint, and the police at cantonments will do the necessary investigations and will know what steps to take.
So persons who assault police personnel who assault civilians.
Hello?
What are the possible sanctions for police personnel who assault civilians?
Let us finish the investigations. If he is able to identify the officers who did it, they will know what steps to take.
If those officers are identified, what is done?
What I'm saying is that I don't want to jump the gun, but this is an assault case. So when we finish the investigations, we are all interested in finding out what happened. And as I said, it is a regrettable incident. It wasn't intentional, but we will certainly have to find out what happened.
Thank you, ACP David Eklu. He is Head of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service. Now, civil society organizations, including Amnesty International, have condemned the attack, calling for the perpetrators to be brought to book. Robert Amoafo is the Executive Secretary of Amnesty International Ghana. He's joining us on the phone with more. Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon.
So what do you make of this attack, alleged attack on Lateef Idris?
Yes, we have condemned this attack on every instance, and we continue to condemn this action by the police. And we are happy that at least they started responding after we have made all comments and calls. And we hope, we wish that they would use the structures and we can monitor and follow through, as they have the professional standards and professional standards bureau. They should use that process and should make the report public so that all of us know what went wrong.
So your expectation is that the police should investigate and make the reports public?
Yes, they should make the report public, and they should tell us the measures which they are going to put in place so that this then doesn't happen again. So that as civil society, as we always do, we'll monitor and make sure that these things do not happen to our dear people of Ghana again.
Thank you very much, Robert Amoafo. He's Executive Secretary for Amnesty International Ghana. And the Ghana Journalists Association has also been condemning the attack. Here is Kofi Yeboah, the General Secretary.
We are condemning the action first and foremost. And secondly, we are calling on the IGT to institute a full-scale investigation into the act. And I think these things are becoming too many. The other time, it happened in the Upper East region where a police officer had assaulted a journalist for asking a very harmless question. And we think it is about time we put a stop to such an inhumane act. We are also expressing our sympathy to Lateef and the cameraman who was.
After that, what would you say to people who have called you dormant over the past few weeks or months?
Sometimes there are a lot of things we do on the quiet. As I speak to you, we are making efforts to meet with the IGP and to formally express our concerns and disapproval of what happened, and to also ask him to take a very active interest in this case. So,
what's next for the GJA after that meeting?
Depending on the outcome, if we are able to have an audience with the IGP, depending on the outcome, that would inform our next line of action. We are condemning the action first and foremost, and secondly, we are calling on the.
So watching Joy News today, I am Daniel Daz. It's now time for business with Emmanuel Awajiriafi.